name is Byron Ramsey. My date of birth is January 11th, 1938. I was born on the Van Eaton Circle on the property of Pierre Seymour in my grandmother's house.
Where did you live when growing up?
On St. Martin Bayou.
Tell us a little bit about your hobbies and pastime.
All I do is fish and a little hunting. That's about all I do. Plant a garden. That's all I do.
What was your parents' names?
My mother's name was Vera. My daddy's name was Elvin.
Where were they born?
My daddy was born in Pointe-Shan. My mama was born right where I was born.
What was their occupation?
My daddy was a fisherman until I was a good-sized boy. Then he went to the VA and retired from the VA as head carpenter.
Do you have any brothers and sisters, and what are their names?
Verlin was my brother, and he passed away 6 years ago.
Did your parents have any brothers and sisters?
Mama had 10, and Daddy had 8.
Okay, do you remember their names?
Yep. There was Irvin, Buck, Ori, Dooley, Eunice, Elner, and one died when he was 12. I can't remember his name. And Aunt May.
Who were your mother's parents?
Wilmer was her daddy, and Lena was her mother, Lena Quave, and her daddy was Peter Quave.
Where were your grandparents raised?
Grandpa was raised right where his house was, right there on Van Eaton Circle. And Grandma was raised on Back Bay, right, not far from the foot of the bridge.
Okay, what did your grandpa do for a living?
Grandpa was a fisherman.
Your grandma, what did she do for a living?
She raised 10 kids. That's all she did was stand over the stove.
Do you have any memories of your grandparents?
Well, we all was raised there. There was always a bunch of grandkids there. And Grandpa made wine, and we'd get under the arbors and pick all the muscadines for him and help him, and we'd grind them, and that was one of our favorite things. And we'd take his old dog and go hunting and help him around the place. He raised a lot of stuff, and we'd ride the horse, his old horse. I would. And he helped him pick pecans and just try to stay there as long as we could.
So can you tell me if your grandparents had any brothers or sisters? What are their names and when were they born?
No way. I've used some of Grandma's sisters, but Aunt Tessie, and I wasn't close to them. I was, they lived on the bay, and I lived up there on the highway. And Grandpa's brothers, to tell you the truth, I can't remember. Van Eaton Seymour was one of them, and Peter Seymour was one, and Johnny Seymour I think that was all of them. And they was two girls. Lord, I can't remember their names. I can't remember their name. Aunt Olive was one. Aunt Olive was one, and I can't remember the other.
All right. So, what are some of your fondest memories of when you were growing up?
Just played in the bayou. Baseball, basketball, and hunting. That's all I thought of.
Okay. Describe the house you grew up in.
It was a 4-bedroom house, and we finally got a bathroom in it. And it was a church right past Cadillac Curve. You know what Cadillac Curve is on the old highway down here. Right past Cadillac Curve, there was an old church when I was 5 years old. Daddy went and tore it down and built that house, and this last storm took it. With the same tin on it that he got off that church. You couldn't drive a nail in it hardly. You had to hold it with pliers. I drove a many a nail in it, repaired it.
When you were growing up, how was your home heated?
First we had a wood heater. Then we had a floor furnace. Then later on, way in years, we got a central heat.
Earlier, you said your grandmother stood over a stove all day. What type of stove did she have?
They had a wood stove to start with, then they got gas.
Did you have indoor plumbing? If not, when did you get it?
We didn't get indoor plumbing till I was way up in school, up in, I don't know, about 8th, 9th, 10th grade.
Did y'all have electricity?
Well, pretty well when they built Daddy's house. Back, I was about 5 years old. We had electricity then.
Did you ever use candles or kerosene lamps for lighting?
Many a time when the storms come. 'Cause we live right there on Cuevas Road.
Where did your family get water?
They had an artesian well, and we run water from that artesian well. And Switzer come in there and put wells around years ago, way early time. And then we'd run water from it. Run water a long ways.
What were your chores and responsibilities while growing up?
Well, I guess cutting the grass around the yard's all we had, and I'd go help Grandpa a lot, you know, around his place when I was a kid. And playing ball. I played baseball till I got tired. I never did get tired of it. I just played all the time.
Did your family buy or make all of your clothing?
Mama made a lot of my shirts out of feed sacks, and I hated them. They scratched me.
How did your family spend their evenings?
Just sitting around shooting a bull. That's all we did, you know. Sit on the porch. That was it. Didn't have no TVs and nothing. We just enjoyed life.
Did you contribute to your family income?
Didn't have to. Daddy worked at the VA. I never did give Mama a nickel.
When you were growing up, did y'all have a garden?
Oh, Grandpa, he raised a little corn and a little potatoes. and had a big pecan orchard. So the pecans paid his taxes. Then he'd plant greens, turnip greens and stuff. And eat a lot of oysters and a lot of fish. So we really ate good.
Did y'all have any livestock?
Grandpa had cattle. Sure did. Before the stockyard.
Did your family attend church?
Very seldom.
How did your family spend Christmas?
We went from house to house all over Back Bay till you couldn't go no more.
What kind of Christmas tree did you have?
We go in the woods and cut one.
Was it a pine tree or a cedar tree?
Pines, because we didn't have cedars down there.
Did y'all decorate the Christmas tree?
Yeah, Mama'd fix it up.
Did your family exchange gifts?
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we had plenty of gifts.
What kind of gifts did you receive for Christmas?
Well, the best one I ever got was a 20-gauge shotgun. I was 12 years old. Them socks and, stuff like that.
Do you still have that shotgun?
You better believe it.
Did your family observe Easter?
Oh, yes, indeed.
How did y'all observe the 4th of July?
Go on Schumacher Bluff and spend the day.
What did y'all do out there?
We'd swim, eat, Mama'd cook a big meal.
How did your family celebrate your birthdays?
I never did celebrate my birthday too much. Maybe a party, the kids would come and have a cake, and all that. But we didn't have no big deal. Just a family deal.
Did you receive gifts on your birthday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How did your family keep cool in the summer?
Open the windows.
And swim in the rivers and the creeks?
The creeks. Rivers and the creeks.
Do you remember any tornadoes, floods, or hurricanes?
Every one of them. Every one of them. I was right in the middle of them on Back Bay. Right before they'd hit, I'd go haul all my ancestors' beds, refrigerators. I'd haul them right up here and cover them with tarps, and I saved them many a one. Oh, in 1947, we had to shovel the mud out of the house. Well, everyone, we shoveled the mud out of the house, not just 47. Everyone would go shovel the mud out, and it was 7'2" and Camille in the house, and we cleaned it all up. We'd load the trucks down with covers and blankets and go to Mill Creek up there, and the water was coming down over the road. We'd just dump everything in the road and wash everything and bring it home, and Mama'd finish washing the best she could there after we got all the mud out of everything. But the last storm come, it took the house. The last one.
As a kid, what were some of your hobbies?
Well, we lived with a slingshot in our pocket, and we'd just go hunt with slingshots. That was one of the best things I remember. And playing baseball. And going swimming the bayou. We'd all go swim from one end of the bayou to the other. We'd go out the mouth of St. Martin Bayou, come around and come up towards Langley Point, go around Langley Point, and then come up to the Tar Wharf and swim up to the Tar Wharf and walk home. So it took us darn near all day to do it.
Where did you attend school?
St. Martin?
Did you attend a one-room schoolhouse or did it have multiple rooms?
No, they had classrooms. My granddad helped build a school, and I remember that much. They didn't have no gym or nothing, but they had, good classrooms.
How did you get to school?
Walked
How far did you have to walk?
about a half a mile.
Would you describe the town or community where you lived?
Just a few houses scattered, and was all very, very good people. Everybody knew each other, and half of them was kin. And everybody knew everybody.
Do you remember when your family acquired their first car?
Very well. My daddy had a bicycle and a boat, and that's the way we traveled. Then he got an old Dodge truck and put a Chrysler engine in it. And we used it until he got able to get him a pretty good pickup truck. Then he started hauling riders to the VA. And then we'd go all over the country, me and my brother and all our kinfolks would be in the back, and it had curtains on it where you could roll up, in the summertime. And we went all over the country, and we didn't have no car. Daddy didn't ever own a car while I was there. It was always that old truck. And we went everywhere in that truck.
Do you remember how much he paid for the truck?
It wasn't very much because it wasn't much to it.
To whom did you marry?
I married Maxine Walden.
How did y'all meet?
Well, I went to school with her.
When did y'all get married?
1957.
Do you remember who attended the wedding?
Well, Mom and Dad and some of our kinfolks. We got married right here at Bethel Hill Baptist Church.
And what did she do for a living?
She worked at Keesler as a secretary. Then after that, she didn't work for a long time. Then she'd get a little job here and a little job there. Then she went to work for the Gulf National Park and retired from there.
How many children did you and your wife have?
2 boys and 2 girls.
Did you serve in the military?
I was in the National Guard.
What is your proudest moment in your life?
I guess watching my kids being born.
What do you consider to have been the most important achievement in your life?
Being healthy and being able to work and never getting hurt real bad.
What do you remember about World War II?
Well, my daddy was working on a shrimp boat, running a shrimp boat down in Louisiana Marsh when the war started, and a lot of the guys just come in, pick their nets up and come in and join the Navy. And some joined the Army, but most of them joined the Navy, working on them boats. And he left, and next time he come home was boot camp, and the next time I saw him, I guess several years later. And he made it through the war and went to work at the VA. So that was it.
Do you remember the name of the ship he was on?
The Wilkes-Barre. The Wilkes-Barre was the name of the ship my daddy was on. And Tony Toretta was on it with him. Yeah, Daddy worked in the gun mount. And Daddy was one of the oldest fellas on the ship. And he taught them how to handle ropes, splice ropes and everything, because there was all a bunch of kids on that ship. And Daddy was the old man, and they called him old man, and he taught all the young guys what to do. And the planes, Japanese planes come in there so thick, Daddy said they looked like bees. Tony Toretta cussed so much, they all cussed. He cussed. And when them planes coming in there, he got his rosary and he ain't cussed in 2 weeks, Daddy said. It scared him so bad. So that's about all I can tell you about the war.
Are there any organizations that you are a member of?
Yeah, I belong to the Masonic Order.
How long have you been there?
I joined the Masonic Order in 1964. And I worked in the Masonic Order for all them years. Then, after my kids got old enough, I told my wife, I said I can afford to join the Shriners. So I joined the Shriners, and it helped a lot of children. So it's a good thing to be in. I've enjoyed it.
Off camera, you had mentioned your grandpa's mother. Who was she?
We called her Grandma Pierre. I can't remember. Pauline, wasn't it? I think it was Pauline, but don't quote me on it.
Can you describe what she looked like?
She was 4 foot tall, humped over, with a long, long gray hair. That's all I can tell you. And she was a Bass. Her last name was Bass, B-A-S-Q-U-E. Her mother was raised on Cat Island. Sure was.
Do you have any philosophy about life to share with your descendants?
One of them I always tried to stick to. If you tell somebody something, stick with it. And try to stay healthy.